You haven't seen one? No. We're joined by Big South champion, High Point University head coach Alan Huss, Bobby Pettiford Jr., and Keza Jiffa. Coach.
Well, credit to Winthrop. For the last month, they've been playing as good a basketball as anybody in the country. They've been making shots at a high level. They've been defending at a high level. They've been rebounding at a high level. And as you saw tonight, they've upped their physicality level over this last month to something that is very uncommon in our conference. They look like a high major basketball team out there. In addition to all that, those guys that have been there, those returners, they've got a core group of guys that are really bought in. You can tell that those young guys are bought into kind of the messaging for those returners. So I'm disappointed that those guys don't get this opportunity to play on that national stage in the NCAA tournament, because I certainly think that they're a worthy opponent. They'd be a worthy participant in the field. Team that could have gone and given someone a great game. But I'm happy for our guys. In my pregame speech, I failed to mention the fact that the game started at noon. We thought maybe it started about 1:30 or 1:45, I think maybe. But I'm really fortunate here. Something a year ago we talked about all the time, and Kez will appreciate and remember this. We talked about the progression of team going from coach-fed to player-led. And the last 60 days or so, we've progressed into that space. Today in the halftime, we were in a bad place. We were just getting completely manhandled physically. We hadn't attempted a free throw. They were the aggressor in every way, shape, or form. And so instead of me ranting and raving at halftime, I walked into a group that was self-policing, that was talking about the processes that needed to be corrected, and that was leading itself to the space we needed to get to. Credit to those guys in that second unit today in particular. I think it's fitting that guys like Trey Benham and Lathum that sacrificed so much for this team this season were the ones that were on the floor when this game concluded and when this tournament concluded, because both those guys gave up quite a bit. Additionally, these other guys, they all had other places they could be. Our returners, they could have all gone in the portal. They chose to believe in this university, in this program, in our coaching staff's vision, and in the characteristics that, and the processes that they knew that they were going to have to be a part of here. I'm so thrilled for them to be able to have this experience. I'm really without words.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take questions. Mark?
Coach, for Bobby coming off the bench to lead the team in minutes today, was that part of any particular strategy, or was that adjusting with the way the game was flowing?
I've said this a number of times this season. We had such a weird run of injuries. A season ago we lost a couple of guys for the season right away. And you feel sorry for yourself for a couple of days in those situations, and then you move to the next deal. Like, okay, next man up. We've had a weird run of injuries this season where guys, they were all expected back kind of midstream. And I heard another coach talking a couple of days ago on social media talking about just getting one player back and how it kind of disrupted their continuity. We had 3.5 for 4 guys that all missed significant portions of time, in the fall and in the winter. And so that's a long way of saying we are still figuring out exactly how we're going to rotate and exactly how these pieces fit together. We've played kind of like a non-conference schedule now together where everybody's been practicing, and we're starting to get a better feel. But this is like where we are right now from a continuity standpoint, from a cohesion standpoint, is probably where teams are when they're starting conference play. We've now had about 60 days where kind of everybody's been back and practicing every day, and I think you can see it with our guys. They're more connected. They understand their roles better, but the rotation's kind of the last piece. We have a lot of capable pieces and only 200 minutes to go around. So I think it's a great motivator. They know that if they don't have their best stuff, there's someone sitting behind them that's willing, capable, and able. And so, you saw that tonight, and Bobby obviously was a huge part of that, as he always is.
Brent?
Also for for Bobby. Obviously, the first half didn't go quite as you like, but scoring a lot of things have to do with the mental part of it. It seemed like the moment you banked in the 1-3, you just took off from there.
Yeah, it was just, what kind of got us going. I think after that 3, I might have got I think it was back-to-back buckets. I think I got a layup in transition or something. So I think we had cut the lead to single digits. Terry, Lay, TB were picking me up. Every time I'm, close to the bench or something, Kez is telling me, you're that guy, go get the job done, keep us going. So when you got, and I said it yesterday, when you got iron sharpening iron, me and Kez always, going at it and making each other better. Some days it's him, some days it's me. I mean, you just kind of live with the results.
Well, Kevin?
Talk about the support from the fans. I mean, you have 10 guys that can play, and you have an 11th guy. Kind of how many people showed up tonight?
I mean, I hate to say we take them for granted, but we have to consistently remind ourselves on how fortunate we are for the support we receive from our administration, from our boosters, from our supporters, from our fans, from our students. They love this university and they love this basketball team. We're fortunate to be a small part of that. Hopefully we brought them some joy today. They were absolutely driving us and willing us to victory there in the second half when we made our run.
Okay. Chris?
Because like he said, the first half didn't go your way. Coach Huss alluded to how you guys were kind of talking to each other to make some adjustments yourself. How did you guys keep your head and not, let the ball get to you when things weren't looking so great, and turn around to where you're sitting now?
Can you repeat the last part of your question, please?
En français.
Like I said, you guys were in a rough spot, and then you turn around, and now you're the champions. How do you look back on that, on keeping your head and not letting Winthrop make the lead any bigger than they did?
I mean, we was down. We only had to stay, positive, and our bench did a great job. Like you can see, the guys that come off the bench are guys that should be first team all league or in any team all league in any other team, And at this moment, when we get the lead back, we just don't want to give it up. Stay positive as much as possible, and one possession at a time. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Bien.
Brian?
Coach, you mentioned Lay at the beginning of this, and we've talked about him all year and what he's meant to this team and just how impactful he's been, even without necessarily filling the stat sheet. But he's one of the only ones who saw this program from what it was to what it is. When you consider what he's meant to this university, to this program, what has he done to help put this together?
His progression is just as a man. He was a guy that they were playing the staff before me with Coach Smith, Gigi Smith. They were playing really fast, and he had kind of just a total green light in that system. And so he fought really hard that first year, first half of the first year, really fought me on kind of what my vision for his game was and what he thought it was. And then he really came out of that at the end of last season. He was really, really good until Ramadan kind of ran into him at the end, and he ran out of gas a little bit. When he lays in Ramadan right now and is full fasting, these early games were really a blessing for him because he eats before sunrise and then can eat again after sunrise, or after sunset. But just as a man, his ability to grow, learn, he was a guy that was very much inside himself a season ago, and he's so much about the name on the front of that jersey, as much so or more so than anyone in our program. He cares about winning. He cares about the right things. He hasn't complained about his role. He just shows up and goes to work. These guys will tell you, never has a bad practice. Some other guys do. He doesn't take a day off. He doesn't have a bad workout. He does everything to as hard as he can possibly do it. And so for him to be, maybe the most critical guy with his full court defense today, it's fitting. It makes sense. There's not a lot I'm sure about right now, but that's justice for that young man that's battled so much. I'm so pleased for him.
Coach,
Did you envision yourself having this dominant a start to your High Point career? And I'm also wondering, could you summarize the journey to this championship and maybe talk about some building blocks that allowed this dominance to come to fruition?
I can tell you this. The conference tournament was going to move before last season. They lost the Bojangles venue, and we were having a debate in the coaches meeting preseason. I had been practicing with my team. I can say this now. They'll appreciate it. And there was a pretty spirited debate on format and whether or not that was the right thing for the top-seeded teams. And I was sitting there quiet in the back of the room saying, top seed's not going to affect us any. I can tell you that. I thought we were a bad ball squad at that team. Keza can tell you, Bobby came in, we already kind of knew what we were doing. Keza can tell you that first 8 weeks, we were a bad ball squad. They've grown, they've listened, they've been such willing learners and willing growers, and I'm so pleased for them. Did I think we were going to be? Would we win 28 games this year? Did I think we'd win 28 games this year? Honestly, this year I did. Last year, did I think we'd win 27? No, I thought we'd win 7. But I'm learning as I go, and like I said, I'm pleased for this group.
Kevin?
Coach Style played that you didn't have one free throw until I think Trey got an and one late in the second half. What does that tell you about your team? This is a league that shoots a lot of free throws in the regular season. And today you had one until late in the game. Talk about how that helps you as you prepare to play other more physical teams in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we got that a little bit in the MTE. I think our experience in the Caymans, we had some officials from some same kind of leagues, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC. They just typically, and we have some of those guys that do some of our games at times too. But I'm just going to say, as a general rule, that was a little bit more physical than what we're used to. I don't think if we didn't go to the Caymans and kind of get punked out by Missouri State, we would have gotten beaten badly today. But we learned our lesson. We recentered there, and it was a little too late. But I think we were able to draw on that experience with a depleted lineup down in the dumps and at Missouri State when we kind of got physically manhandled in a very physical game where we didn't get to the foul line. We learned from it. We drew from that experience, and I think it helped us today.
Chris?
The second half, Winthrop were very good from three, and then in the second half they only made one. What did you do from the? What did you see from the defensive side of the ball in the second half?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I mean, we wanted to stay true to the process. We thought they hit a couple of hard ones. We had some miscommunications in transition situations. Their ability to go from, we talked about, maybe this sounds crazy, but we talked about not falling down when we shoot. Like we're trying to sell fouls. You fall down, you're playing 5-on-4 versus a team that's, they're dynamite in transition. And when you're playing a man down against them, they're going to get open looks. Then you throw in, we got our heads down a little bit because we weren't making baskets. We're in a place where we haven't been a whole lot down in the game. And it was a recipe for us playing not very well and eating some threes and just not being quite as dialed in as we needed to be.
Brent?
For any one of you three or all three of you, obviously that game there, the pressure's over now. How excited are you guys now? You got the crowd chanting your guys' name when you're getting the trophy. I see the smiles. But how excited are you now?
I mean, it's just surreal for me right now. I'm just a kid from France that came here 4 years ago with a dream. Just wanted to. I've been watching the NCAA tournament when I was young, and I never thought that I would be there one day. And I just stayed down and worked really hard and believing in myself. And I thank God every day for this opportunity, and I thank Coach Huss also that believed in me and took me under his wing. I don't take that for granted, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
This is definitely a sign for me. I'm from right down the road, so definitely coming back home and accomplishing this, for the first time in history. So, I mean, it feels amazing, especially I remember, having my first conversations with them. I was, kind of going through a lot at the time. We had to figure some things out. They stuck with me. Just told me, just keep being patient. Just stick with us. We got you, and everything is just happened exactly how they said. So just like KG said, I thank Coach Huss for everything.
Go here, and then Mark.
What is the feeling like for you guys after the disappointment of last season to then come back and achieve what you've achieved?
I don't want to speak for them, but for me, I've been through this a lot. I've lost track of how many NCAA tournaments I've been a part of as a player, as a coach. It's still, other than the birth of my kids, my wife would probably get mad at me if I didn't say my wedding day, so I'll say that too. Other than those moments, I don't know that there's anything better than the NCAA tournament. Being a part of it, it's the greatest sporting event on planet Earth. I said that, Kez. It's not the World Cup. It's the greatest sporting event on earth, and they get to be a part of it. Bobby's won a national championship. He's cut down the nets for the whole thing. But for most of these guys, they haven't had that opportunity yet. I'm so thrilled for them to be able to share that experience with their teammates, with their brothers, because the part you don't see, we're really simple offensively. But these guys, our culture, and we don't talk about it, we don't post videos about it, we don't do anything, but we put more work in the off season. These guys, I think Keza and Bobby will tell you, it's overwhelming when you get into our program and you see the way the culture is, the way that we do things, the amount of times that your teammates are going to put pressure on you. You only get 8 hours a week in the summer, 4 on the floor and 4 in the weight room, and those guys are spending another 20 on their own with managers and GAs rebounding for them. And our culture is strong. These guys come in, they become better shooters because our culture is strong. They become more skilled because our culture is strong. But everyone sees us cut down the nets. But when we were here this summer grinding, and Coach was on us every single day, and these guys have earned this in every way imaginable. So I'm thrilled for them because this work has paid off.
Mark.
Bobby, if you speak to the personal significance and value of punctuating your season with MVP honors.
I mean, it's amazing, but I want to thank my teammates, and it was at a point in time in the summer where I really didn't know what basketball was gonna look like anymore. I had a couple surgeries and had to deal with some things. So I mean, I'm honored. I don't know, man. I'm just honored. I thank my guys for having my back, so it feels good.
I want to make a comment on that, and I think Kez will agree with me. Bobby, in my mind, since he's been back healthy, I think he's been the MVP of our season all year for a variety of reasons. His unselfishness, not just his passing of the basketball, which is elite, but his willingness to come off the bench, never complained. His willingness to play minutes that go up and down, never complained. This guy's won a national championship, was a top whatever recruit, played at Kansas, played at Allen Fieldhouse, has played in the biggest games, the biggest stages, complained none. In my mind, because of those things, you add those things and his unselfishness to his skill set, it makes him the most valuable piece of our team. He makes everyone better. And I think even Keza, who's his, they split minutes, they play together, he even makes Keza better. And he came off the bench, and I'm so pleased for him that it worked out this way and that he won this award, because he's been just totally selfless all season.
Coach, I'm with the local media here. I'm just curious. You mentioned venue change for this tournament. What's been your impressions of Johnson Center?
They didn't. I wish it was a little closer so we could have even more people. But it was first class. I mean, the floor, the venue. We played over here against East Tennessee in an exhibition game before the season. We thought maybe it'd make us shoot the basketball a little better. It didn't work. We didn't shoot it particularly well this weekend, but we did get a feel for the place. No, it seems great. Hopefully, as we kind of continue to be here for the next several years, we'll build a nice little base of locals, and we can continue to make this a thing, because I think it's a great location.
Kevin?
Next 10 days, you got 10 days actually off coming here. How do you use that to kind of go through a game plan for next Thursday or Friday?
For me, we're going to relax. We're going to cheer the women on tonight. We're going to hope that they join us in the NCAA tournament, and then we're going to take a couple days off. These guys have played 3-3, and then we'll get back to the grind. We'll do some skills this week. That's kind of the basis of our program. It's not some elaborate scheme. It's these guys dribble, passing, and shooting. It's what we did last week. We'll kind of mirror that. And I know these guys will be excited to be in the gym working at their game.
Mark?
Coach, obviously the job is not done now. You've got more games in front of you, but if you can speak to the significance of this being the first time for High Point going to the big dance and what this team and that accomplishment mean to the program and the university.
Yeah, I'm gonna plagiarize. Darrell Edwards was a point guard here that came up short a couple of times. Darrell played the Scott Cherry years when they won regular season championships, and he's a NASCAR pit crew guy now. He's a jack man for, I think, Joe Gibbs. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry, Darrell. But Darrell's come back. He's an elite winner. He's won at everything. Won a junior college national championship. Won his butt off at High Point, and it's just been a winner in NASCAR. And Darrell is a guy that tells an unbelievable story, and he's talked to our guys over the past 2 years about being the first ever. And so, Darrell, thank you for your words. We've borrowed him, we've plagiarized him, we've reused him, but he's right. It hasn't hit anybody on this stage. It certainly hasn't hit me, the significance of that. But for our people that have showed up and supported us before we did the special things, it's awesome for them. It's something that this group will never forget. I know our fans will never forget, and I'm ecstatic for all involved. And I love the fact that Darrell gave us those words. I'm sure Keza and Bobby feel the same way, because we used them a lot of times when we were in dark moments, and we had a long time to get ready for a game, or weren't playing very well, or just having some bad moments in practice. We leaned on Darrell's words a lot of times, and those really, I think, helped lead us forward and bring us back together when we started to fracture.
Guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.